Welcome, Professor Cezmi Akdis, to APAAACI's motivational conversation with global experts. We are greatly honored and privileged to have you speak with us for our community and our membership, for our younger generation especially. So thank you so much for your time and for all the efforts that you have made for this conversation. I will briefly introduce you before we start the talk. Professor Cezmi Akdis is the director of the Swiss Institute of Allergy and Asthma Research. He is also a professor at the University of Zurich and as well as a director of the Christine Kühne Allergy Asthma Research and Education Foundation. He has been a founder of several different organizations, including the World Immunoregulation Meeting, which has been a great success for over 10 years. Professor Akdis has an excellent scientific career with over 540 publications in peer-reviewed journals, many book chapters, and also editors of many books and initiatives like the Global Atlases of EAACI. He also has a citation that is over 37,000 and an H index of 102. Professor Akdis was also the president of the European Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, and also he has been in the leadership role in that organization before he became the president of the organization, and did a lot of excellent activities during his tenure in EAACI leadership. He's also been the editor of several journals, but in particular, I would say two top journals of allergy, the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, and currently the editor-in-chief of Allergy. His work in research has spanned several areas, from Tregs to NK cells to innate lymphoid cells to antigen recognition to immunosuppressive role of the H2 receptor. And there's tons and tons of it that he will briefly touch upon. We are honored to have him here today to speak with us. And in particular, I would also say that he has received several awards and honors. And I was privileged to actually honor him with the WOW Scientific Award, Distinguished Scientific Award at the EAACI WOW Congress in Milan. So with this brief introduction, I would like to invite Professor Cezmi Akdis to speak with us. Thank you, Professor, and welcome. Thank you, Cezmi.
Thank you very much, Professor Pawankar. It's my privilege and my honor to take part in this motivation talk for young scientists. You and me had always young scientists always in front, and we worked a lot together in the past, and we hope to work together also in the future. And it's really a great pleasure to speak now with you about our achievements and our work together.
Professor Akdis, or Cezmi, may I call you that way? Can you kindly introduce yourself, starting from the first steps of your career?
Thank you very much. I was born in 1961 in Bursa, Turkey, and I studied in the same city. It's a very touristic and very historical city from the time of Hannibal around 2000 BC, but also it was the first capital of the Ottoman Empire. Then I studied university in 1979 and 1985. And I did two specialties between 1987 to 1991, infectious diseases and clinical microbiology first, and then immunology second, which I continued half of it in Basel, Ciba-Geigy. I became an assistant professor in 1993, and I became an associate professor in 1996 in Turkey, and I became also Venia Legendi, which means you are a teacher in the university in 2002 in Zurich University Medical Faculty. I became professor in 2006 in Zurich University Medical Faculty and Ordinarius Professor in 2013 in Zurich University Medical Faculty. There was interesting time in our life. We got married with my wife, Professor Ruby Akdis, who is also a scientist, in 1985, and started to work as health center doctors in Turkey, in central Anatolia. And then I went back to specialization. In 1993, I went to Ciba-Geigy Research Center in Basel, which I met with a very important mentor in my life. And in 1994, I came to Swiss Institute of Allergy and Asthma Research in Davos, which was also a Ciba-Geigy project. And in 1995, I met with you, Ruby, in the Swiss Institute of Allergy Asthma Research when you visited us as a scientist. In 1998, I became head of Immunology group in the institute. In 2006, I became the director of SIAF and professor in University of Zurich. I had a long history in European Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology. I joined the executive committee in 2003 as immunology section chair. Then I worked as scientific program committee chair and 4 years as vice president and 2 years as president. I'm also appointed in the Swiss Academy of Medical Sciences as a Senate member and a Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics board member. I had publications in the range of 700 in total and H-index 101. Thank you.
Thank you, Cezmi. That was wonderful. It's really a brilliant career, and it was a pleasure to meet you several years back, and we've been friends since then. You were the president of the European Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, a very big society which is international but of European origin. Could you kindly highlight your role as a leader of this organization? And what do you think were your best achievements and experiences in leading the organization?
When I was working in the European Academy, starting from the scientific program committee chair, I took over the responsibility of organizing European Academy annual meetings and congresses. I think my first achievement was bringing the Congress participants from a number in the range of 2,500 to 8,000. That was really a great work which happened in around 8 years, starting from 2013 to 2011. And the second major achievement is, of course, the work in finances, democratizing the academy and bringing the concept of academy family, the family of European Academy, which includes all the section chairs and board members, interest group chairs and board members, which became a number around 180. And then one of the other achievements is the establishment of the global atlases and also the patient organization committee and many additional achievements on establishment of focus meetings and others. So I'd like to share with you some slides from these times, which I'm really very proud of being part. And this is when we co-organized and co-chaired the EAACI WOW World Allergy Meeting in 2013 in Milan. Andrea Bocelli was giving the opening concert, and you were giving him a certificate and honoring, and we were, of course, both very much honored to have him giving a concert in the opening of this meeting. And here's the moments that when we opened the Congress together. Actually, this was really a great time from my side. And you also gave the WOW Scientific Achievement Award to me at that time, which was also another great time. And here is on my left side you, and on my right side my wife, in the dinner that was given to honorary guests at that time in the Congress. And this is the moment that we opened the Congress that I really wanted to share with the young scientists of APAAACI, and hopefully many young scientists will watch and will achieve this happiness in their life. So I was a founder and organizer of many European Academy Davos Winter Schools, starting from 2001, when I was the secretary of the Immunology section. I acted as Congress President in Geneva Congress and co-president with you in Milan Congress. And at that time, it was a really great work that we established GALEN with several European scientists, which is a global allergy asthma European network. It's a network of excellence program, and this was established in 2004. And in 2009, I was one of the directors to establish Christine Kühne-Center for Allergy Research and Education. Then another exciting time was the establishment of international coalition in allergy and asthma, the ICOL, between European Academy, American College, and World Allergy Organization. And this was a time when you were Secretary General and President-elect of World Allergy Organization, and this continued during your presidency, and we worked together in this organization around 4 years. And this was the top organization, and we published many papers together. We called them ICONs, International Coalition papers, and these ICONs were one of the most cited papers of Journal of Allergy Clinical Immunology and Allergy and WOW Journal, and also American College Journal at the time when they were published. Here is one of the pictures of this ICOL group. We have from left to right Professor Lenny Rosenwasser and Professor Dennis Ledford, Professor Mark Ballow, Professor Jan Lötwal, Professor Ruby Pawankar, myself, and Professor Thomas Casale. This is another meeting that we had at the time, and here you were the president of World Allergy Organization. Professor Lenny Rosenwasser was your secretary, and Professor Richard Weber was the president of American College. So we were sitting in the meeting. This is a picture from that time. And this is when we met, and you were all my guests in the Geneva Congress. And from left to right, again, we see Professor Thomas Casale, Professor Nikos Papadopoulos, Professor Dick Locke, Professor Dana Wallace, Professor Ruby Pawankar, Professor Dennis Ledford, Professor Jan Lötwal, Professor Lenny Rosenwasser, Professor Stan Feynman, Professor Richard Weber, and Professor Westy Bergs, who were members of the ICOL group, and with whom we had the privilege and honor to work together to produce great papers for the world science of allergy and clinical immunology.
Thank you very much. And I would like to say that I enjoyed every bit of collaboration together that we had between EAACI and WOW during your leadership of EAACI. And the excellent work that you had done in EAACI is really so remarkable, including the many small meetings that you organized that we actually tried to follow in WOW to some extent. With our little bit of symposium. My next question, Cezmi, is what are your insights of being mentored by some of the best leaders in allergy and immunology?
Thank you for this question. Mentors are very important in our lives. They really shape our lives, and working with a great mentor changes your future. I feel myself very honored to have mentors like Professor Kaya Kılıçturgay from Turkey, Professor Şefik Alkan from Basel, Professor Kurt Blaser, who was the director of our institute in Davos. And another mentor for me was Professor Donald Young. When he was the editor-in-chief of Journal of Allergy Clinical Immunology, he took me to the editorial board in 2003 and made me associate editor in 2007. And from 2007 to 2015, we worked together. Then I became the editor-in-chief of Journal of Allergy Clinical Immunology. And all of these mentors were really great people and great friends. And I just lost last month Professor Kaya Kılıçturgay at the age of 91, and he was really a great mentor. As Ruby, you had Tomi Tada in your life as a mentor. I think we should really emphasize this and really appreciate our mentors when we were young scientists who really contributed a lot to our future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I deeply appreciate that. And I fully agree with you that mentors really shape us in the way we think and also in our scientific career, how to pursue it, and also the ideas that later we can actually give to the people that we mentor. What are the honors that you received in your career? I know there are so many, so I couldn't really read them all in my introduction. So it would be very great if you could highlight some of the key honors that you have received.
Thank you very much. Honors are the times when we receive the fuel for the next months or years of work. And with these honors, the motivation that a young scientist receives is very, very important. I was so lucky and so privileged to receive these honors, like Best Study in Viral Hepatitis in Turkey, and then Ferdinand Wortmann Prize from the Swiss Society of Allergy Immunology in 1996, Hux Marion Russell Award from the Swiss Society of Allergy Immunology in 1998, Professor Hans Stork Award from Zurich University Medical School, Dr. Karl Heyer Prize from the Karl Heyer Foundation in 1998, Sedat Simavi Medicine Award, this is the highest award given in Turkey in 1998. Allergy Pharma Award was a huge privilege, and I was very, very lucky to receive the first Allergy Pharma Award right after it was established. The European Allergy Research Gold Medal was a great honor, which was given by the Foundation of Allergy Research of Europe. And there is another exclusive award of Science and Innovation Council of Turkey. And I have also received the honorary professorship from Cantonal University of National Tongren Hospital. And I received a prize from my own city. This is the Chamber of Commerce Prize. World Allergy Organization Scientific Achievement Award was a big honor in my life, which I received from your hands. There was American Academy Elliott Middleton Memorial Lecture in 2014. I became the Senate member of Swiss Academy of Medical Sciences in 2014. And I became honorary member of Swiss Society of Allergy Immunology in 2017. In 2019, I became honorary member and fellow of the European Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology. In 2019, I received the Robert Gold's lecture from Minneapolis University. And last year, I became also honorary professor in Wuhan University in China.
Thank you very much. That's really an illustrious list of awards, and it itself speaks so much of the volume of work that you have done, because without that, you could not have received such an amount of recognition. And we ourselves, of course, in WOW, we're extremely privileged to give you or honor you with that award. So it speaks so highly of your scientific career, Cezmi. My next question to you is like in your work across countries, especially your origins from Turkey, then moving to Europe, to Switzerland, and then working across continents as a leader and as a scientist. And you also established several centers of excellence and also created a people who actually then established centers of excellence in more than one country. Can you explain your journey in doing so and the challenges and the successes that you've had?
I would like to start with this picture. This is a picture of a hospital of a small town in central Turkey. And we started our career in 1985 with Mübeccel, my wife, and we didn't have any child at that time. And we were two young doctors at the age of 24. And there was a health center with 12 beds, but the population was too high and there was no space in the beds and no place. So we thought that we should develop a central, bigger hospital. And we established a foundation with the local people and organized the funding by donations, and even organized a wrestling tournament at that time in 1985, and developed this hospital, which is a main hospital now there. And it has 40 beds and specialties and outpatient, inpatient clinic. And this happened in, actually we started this in 1986 and this was finished in 1988. At that time we left this town and returned back to specialization in my hometown. The second biggest honor is to have this building. This is our new research institute in Davos, and this was established by the funding from Kühne Holding and also our foundation, Canton, and Davos community. And I was so privileged that it happened during my directorship, and I am still the director of this new institute, Civis Institute of Allergy and Asthma Research. There is something very original for this institute. Here are the lab part. And when you do your postdoc fellowship in, for example, Harvard or Yale, or if you go to Stanford University, if you want to do a cell culture experiment here, and if you want to analyze something, you sometimes need to go take your bike, go one block to another building, go to the third floor and measure it. Here, when you do the cultures here, you come to this room and measure it. You go to this room and measure it, or go downstairs to this lab area. And so we have a very compact human immunology and allergy research possibilities in this institute, with also an instrument arsenal of 12 million euros, which I'm really very proud to have this institute now open for the work of young scientists and continuously publishing very front papers and mainly focused on human immunology, allergy, clinical immunology. But nowadays we are also doing SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 research. So this is something that I wanted to mention. Together with this, of course, the contributions to European Academy, the establishment of Christine Kühne-Center for Allergy Research and Education, the establishment of World Immune Regulation meetings, and many work in the European Academy are the times that I was really very proud of.
Thank you very much, Cezmi. That was really great to see the journey that you've had in this career of yours. The other thing, as I mentioned in the introduction also, that you've been involved in so many different organizations. One of this, I remember very clearly from the very first World Immunoregulation meeting that you held several years back in Davos, over 10 years now. So this meeting has been a great success with excellent scientists and the top scientists in the world, and the content has been just exceptional. So for this very successful and highly scientific Congress, can you highlight the key points regarding your vision behind setting up WORM?
Thank you very much, Ruby, for this question. When I was selected as the director of SIAF, which was in 2005, I became director in 2006. I thought that I should start with something very special. And I had the experience from the EAACI winter schools and attending EAACI congresses and being the scientific program committee chair of the EAACI. I thought that I should organize a meeting which is a summit which takes place in Davos and which has also this motto of top science. And this is one of the most lovely pictures that I like very much. And all of these people think of their food when they see this bird. But this girl scientist is thinking of the angles of the wings, how can this bird fly? And this is science and a way of scientific thinking. And we, together with our group leaders, together with Mübeccel, we decided to bring top scientists who have published recently or they have papers in press in journals like Nature, Science, Cell, as well as Nobel laureates. And we invited them and organized this Davos summit as World Immune Regulation meeting 14 times so far, with 600 to 1,000 participants, which was a very beautiful platform for young scientists to meet with world top leaders and to ask them questions not only after their talks, but also during skiing, during free hours, during evening sessions. So this actually was established as a successful congress with the same motto, and it's going on. This year we will organize the meeting at the end of June, and we are still considering whether we should make it online or whether we should make it face-to-face. And we are looking around how the disease, the pandemics will develop, and we'll announce the meeting afterwards. I look forward to seeing many, as much as possible, APAAACI young scientists. We are giving around 35 travel grants from this Congress, and I can promise that every country from the APAAACI area will have one candidate and one actually person receiving this travel grant. So I will support the Asia Pacific region as good as possible in the upcoming meeting.
Thank you very much, Cezmi. This is really great because to visualize a meeting from nothing, to conceptualize it, to develop it, and to bring it to such high standards requires a lot of effort and vision and also a lot of hard work. So really, really admire this. And I also deeply appreciate your support for the young scientists from our region. And we are promoting WORM very much on our website and through our newsletters to the membership. So we will further highlight it in all our communications. And thank you very much. We appreciate very much the support from WORM to the APAAACI member societies. Thank you. The next thing, Cezmi, I really would like to ask is, besides your scientific publications, your leadership, your organizational work, you have literally covered every aspect of what one would dream to be like one's career. And one of it is, of course, is to lead journals. And leading a journal is not an easy task. It's really difficult even to lead a journal, but to get it to a very high successful level, I have seen that journey as you have done both for the Journal of Allergy Clinical Immunology and now more recently Allergy. So as a chief editor of these two top journals, JACI and Allergy, can you highlight the challenges that you have had and the key points needed for someone who is in your position to drive a journal to success as you have done?
Thank you very much, Ruby, for this question. It was really a journey in the two journals for me, for my career. And I would like to talk about my time in Journal of Allergy and Immunology. So as I said, I joined the editorial board in 2003 and became associate editor in 2007. When I joined the editorial board, the impact factor of JACI was around 5. And when I joined the associate editors group, became an editor of the journal, its impact factor was around 7.8. And I took over as editor-in-chief in 2015, and the impact factor was 11.2. And in 2 and 3 years, we brought the journal to an impact factor of 14.1 with Professor Zuhair Balas, who was co-editor-in-chief. And with our team, we owe a lot, of course, to our team, the associate editors working with us at that time, and our office, and this was really great. There was a problem from my side working in JACI because the office of JACI was in San Diego, and there was 9 hours time difference. For this time, when I was the editor-in-chief, I was working usually until 2 o'clock in the morning and receiving several hundreds of emails at midnight time. I thought that I should continue with this expertise and bring this to another journal which fits to my time zone. And at that time, I heard that Allergy opened the editor-in-chief position. And with the actually permission from Professor Zuhair Balas and with the American Academy team, I thought that I should move to Allergy because I was losing from my health, working at almost in the mornings for the journal, and I wanted that the journal flies and goes ahead in the best way. And I moved to Allergy starting from the beginning of 2018. This year, our team, I established a new team of editors in Allergy, and this year our team finished its 3rd year. And we started to increase the impact factor. Of course, impact factor is affected by the last 2 years. So this year's impact factor is mainly the publications of 2018 and 2019. And we will receive a good high impact factor. So we took over at 6.02, and we increased it to 8.7. And this year we are expecting to see an impact factor which is over 10, which is a good news, because also we have a lot of fellows and scientists publishing in JACI from Asia Pacific, and also there we have a lot of Chinese authors, and the number of submissions from China in the last 3 years increased from around 80-90 to around 250. So this is also a good collaboration. We have a Chinese editor who is Professor Lu Zhang, and an editor in Singapore, Professor Dalen Wang from the Asia Pacific region, and we have an editor from Australia, Professor Robin O'Hare. So we have 3 editors in the Asia Pacific area, and we are working with them also to represent the science of your region with great pleasure.
Thank you very much, Cezmi. That was really wonderful. And I must say, over and above the science of the journal is the excellent illustrations that you have on the journal covers. They are just fantastic. I mean, each and every one is so unique and so well done, and I think beats that of any journal, really. I haven't seen such beautiful illustrations, so congratulations to you on that. And very happy that Lu Zhang is on the editorial board, because he's our treasurer. We're very proud to have him on our board, and I'm very happy that he's contributing to the journal. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Ruby. So I would like to express my feelings about the pandemics a little bit, since all our healthcare workers from all around the world are carrying the world in their hands, and we really owe a lot to them because they are working day and night. They are risking their lives, and they have really done great to contend to pandemic. And our scientists all around the world also did great, so that we have vaccines developed within 10 months, even finalized phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 trials. So vaccines are being also licensed nowadays. We have 4 vaccines which are licensed in the world. They are being used, and many countries have started the vaccination. So I hope that we will finalize the pandemic and control all of it with the work of our healthcare workers, with our doctors, and with our scientists. I also would like to show this because this is for the memory and honors of all healthcare workers who lost their lives in their service in the fight against COVID pandemic. We heard the bad news from Italy, from all around the world, that healthcare workers were lost, and we published this in memoriam in our journal. And we published many COVID papers, including one of the first papers which we published with our colleagues from Wuhan. And this first paper shows the first human-to-human contact. Before it was thought it was coming from bats and penguins, and it was linked to the wet market. And the first paper also shows that there's diabetes and hypertension as risk factors, lymphopenia, eosinopenia as important pathogenetic factors, and I would like to emphasize this. The second paper we published was about 11 phases of coronavirus disease. And I was authoring all these papers and working on this work with the data coming from Wuhan. And in March, we published this paper. And from our institute, we published the distribution of SARS-CoV-2 binding receptors, ACE2, CD147, CD26, and that was also an important publication. We published clinical characteristics of the first 140 patients. This was on the 19th of February. You can remember that around the 19th of February, there was no patients in Europe. Most of the patients were in China and slowly starting in the Asia-Pacific area. And these are the papers that we published, and that will be in the presentation. And we have also a virtual issue. That means all of these COVID and SARS-CoV-2 related papers, which are in the range of 70 articles now in our journal, including reviews, original articles, position papers, and letters to the editor. And they are all free access. So you can just download them with one click, and you don't need to be a member of the journal, member of the EAACI. So we opened all of these articles for free access as a contribution of Wiley and the European Academy to the world science. We published with junior members of Allergy a compendium answering over 150 questions on COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2. And we published an immune response to SARS-CoV-2. These are very highly cited papers, actually. In total, our COVID and SARS-CoV-2 papers received more than 4,000 citations, which is also responsible, which is going to be responsible for the high impact factor of allergy that we are achieving. Thank you.
Thank you, Cezmi. Just before I go to the next question, because you covered so much about COVID-19, and I really wanted to discuss that with you, and because it's such an important point of discussion now all over the world. And with your background in infectious diseases and immunology, just a question. I mean, like, we have this vaccine rolled out now, being rolled out in many countries. Is already rolled out in the US, in UK, several European countries, India, in some of the Middle East countries, in Turkey, and it's going to be rolled out in Japan and Korea and other countries too. So what's your conception? I mean, do you think that we would reach somewhere a stage where we could get a herd immunity? Because I've heard Tony Fauci talking about that you need at least 70% to 80% of the population to be actually uh, immunized to be able to achieve that herd immunity, and that takes quite a long time. And a natural herd immunity may be not a very good idea, like they tried in Sweden. So, what's your opinion about it?
Yes, Ruby, thank you for this question. We work a lot on COVID, on every aspect of COVID. And from our institute, we published 27 articles. And your question is very valid, because every effort should be paid to contain this pandemic, first of all. We have to finish this and turn the world to normal. To fight with pandemics, you need, in principle, two things. The first one is to educate the public as good as possible in the best way. The second one is you have to have a vaccine. You cannot fight with a pandemic by oral therapeutics or only by treating the disease, because it will continue. There will be no continuous immunity. So the vaccines are developed. Now they are available almost all around the world, and they are in the licensing process in many countries, like Japan, that they will be licensed within a few days, and the mass vaccinations will start. Israel has vaccinated about 30% of their population so far. United Emirates vaccinated around 20%. Bahrain vaccinated about 15%. And United States vaccinated about 5%, and United Kingdom vaccinated about 7%. These are the numbers from yesterday. So this will go on, and we will have a population immunity, a full population immunity, because vaccines are protecting above 90% for all disease, and they are protecting for severe disease in the range of 100%. So vaccinated people in the phase 3 trials did not develop severe disease. So it's fully avoiding the deaths and fully avoiding intensive care requirement for patients, which is a huge healthcare burden. And I have a very good example. There is an anti-vaccine community in the Netherlands. And 2 years ago, they had a measles epidemic there. And in this community, 800 people developed measles, and 40 of them died. This is a huge number of deaths. But if you haven't seen measles, I can assure you that it is quite okay in childhood, but in the adults, measles is a very killing disease. So with the best healthcare, there was still 40 deaths. And these 800 people were living in a village somewhere in the Netherlands, but there was, in the beginning, in the first several weeks, before understanding that there is an epidemic going on, they had free travel. And they went to Amsterdam, they went to travel to UK, United States, but to the places which are vaccinated by measles vaccine. And there was no single development of a local pandemic because of these people, that they spread the virus to other communities inside the Netherlands or to neighboring countries, or by flight to abroad. So this is a very good example that vaccines can control, and the world has a very good immunity against a pandemic for measles. There's always sporadic cases, it can always happen, and most probably we will manage this for COVID-19 to have a worldwide immunity in 1 or 2 years. And my suggestion to all the people hearing this is to have your vaccines, whatever you find, it doesn't matter. All of the vaccines are okay, and all of the vaccines have very fine, acceptable side effects. They are not so severe, they are not so big health problems, but you have to obey the rules. So you have to have adrenaline. If there's anaphylaxis, you have to have full also education of the vaccinators, how to fight with anaphylactic side effects or other side effects after vaccination. So the most important thing is to vaccinate the world as fast as possible, because if we delay, there will be pressure for more mutations. So the virus would do its best to survive and will make mutations. But if we finish the infection rate and decrease it to very low levels, to sporadic levels, then there will not be risks for mutation. And if there is any mutation, it will be handled locally in the best way. So these are my comments about the vaccination and future of the pandemics for now, but it's a big topic, of course. Maybe you can organize also a meeting throughout the APAAACI. Most probably you will do it to discuss COVID pandemics and also molecular cellular mechanisms of the disease. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cezmi. I think these were very important highlights, and I agree 100% with you. I think this is the solution and this is the answer, because if we look back at the Spanish flu, I mean, at those days they never had that. We are lucky that now in 10 months we have vaccines in place, and taking advantage of that situation, that's the only solution to control this. I fully agree with you. And I also agree that it'll be a wonderful opportunity for us to have a panel discussion and a kind of webinar, including yourself on COVID-19 and looking at this across continents. So we're looking forward to that opportunity also. Thank you very much. So yes, the message, and yes, and absolutely right, because there are guidelines in position that people even who are allergic to drugs or vaccines, that they are pre-medicated with an antihistamine, H1, H2, and montelukast, and of course they have adrenaline or EpiPen ready with them in case there is some anaphylaxis. And the people that I've seen, many of them have not had such severe reactions as far as I've heard. So I think moving forwards, it's more and more important to educate everybody to take the vaccine. I fully agree with you. So my next question is, having had this illustrious career, which is really just fantastic from every point of view, scientific, from leadership, from mentoring, from being mentored, this excellent career that you have had, which is like an example for people to emulate, I think, and because you never emulated it with the desire to achieve something, but you emulated it by just trying to work hard, and everything you achieved was a result of that hard work that you put in. And of course, the work that Mubachel put in from her side. And as a couple, I mean, it's fantastic to see both of you doing so well. So what is your message for young upcoming allergists and immunologists in helping them in their career development? This is very key for our region. So really would like to hear your thoughts, Cezmi.
Thank you very much, Ruby. I would like to start with this slide, which shows the young scientists of the European Academy and World Allergy Organization around us. And these are the ones who received the awards of the poster session in the first evening. And this is the GMA poster session that World Allergy Organization organized together with EAACI. And here we see several professors even, because this is a picture of 2013 and 7 years passed since then. And it's a great pleasure to really feel that we have young scientists around us. What I suggest to all of them is to love what they are doing. The first thing is to love what they are doing. To work in their jobs like a hobby, enjoy it as much as possible, and make it enjoyable to their environment. And this is an important also personality management, that to make the life enjoyable for yourself and to your environment, because if you turn it to an enjoyable environment in your office, in your lab, in your institute, you multiply the success, because people who like to do this and who like to do their jobs work without any hesitation and work very hard. And always stay with ethical standards. That's a very important thing. And keep your environment also with ethical standards. And then that's all fine. It will work very hard. And the last, my suggestion for young scientists is never ever give up. If you have a question, scientific question in your mind, do your best to answer this question by finding collaborations, by finding also mentors, and you can always phone Professor Pawankar and me anytime in your if you have scientific questions, and also all the APAAACI leaders, EAACI leaders. Just know that we are here to serve the next generation in the best way, to help you that you develop your career in the best way. Thank you.
Wonderful, Cezmi. That was really, really great. I mean, honestly, it's so stimulating. And when we look back at our own careers, I think that aspect has been crucial. That positivity, that enjoying what you're doing, because that gives you the motivation, because when you enjoy it, and like you said, creating that atmosphere in the place environment that you work in also generates positive energy around you, and reaching out for questions that we can't find answers to. I mean, you've just expressed it so beautifully, and I think our younger generation in this region will highly benefit from your message that you have given to them. Finally, I'd like to also say that you've made huge contributions to the growth of the next generation of academic colleagues across the world, not just one or two countries, but across the world. In your mentoring them, what would you consider your most rewarding experience?
Thank you very much for this question. This is my talk when I became the president of European Academy. And here is a question you can read on the screen. It is a big screen, and it's writing, what is the best investment in the universe? What is the best investment in the universe? Would you think of getting some shares of the COVID vaccine companies, or would you think of getting some shares of the new spin-off that some institutes are establishing? I think we have to follow the rule of nature. The best investment in the universe is to invest in next generations. So that's our motto with Ruby, actually. That's how we worked, and to invest in the next generation. So that was very rewarding to see the next generation. In the previous picture, we have Enrico, Alexandra, and many people who became now department heads, who became editorial board members, who published wonderful papers. This is the biggest rewarding thing, seeing your fellows becoming institute directors, becoming professors, and doing their habilitation depending on their age, and doing this timely, and publishing in good journals together with you in your group in collaboration. So one of the other important points which I should have mentioned in the previous question is to be collaborative, and to collaborate as much as possible with your environment, and to learn and teach to them. Our life is one of the most exciting kind of life, because every week on my desk in the institute, I can have something which is unknown by the world, and which is developed by one of our fellows in the group. It is a scientific result. Maybe it's a staining of a tissue with a new antibody. Maybe it's the results given by a device like flow cytometer, or single cell sequencing, or image stream, all these results. And that's the most rewarding thing, to live such a life. It is like diving to deep as possible, or climbing to the highest peaks in science, to see what is unknown by the whole world. 8 billion people don't know it, and only you and your fellow know it. And one day, a drug can develop, a treatment can develop, a vaccine can develop from this finding. I think this is the most rewarding thing in our life. And I would like to also show this picture. This is another suggestion to young scientists. I show this to you, and try to be like this girl always, a scientist, and try to be also not like this rhino, and avoid prejudice in your life. And the rhino sees everything as if there is a hill in front, because the rhino sees his nose here and thinks that this is what I like. This cartoon is a prejudice cartoon, and don't have any prejudice in your life, and leave yourself free for scientific discoveries, leave yourself free for international collaboration, and also an international working atmosphere, and to work with every kind of people. We are all humans. We should be all friends, colleagues, and we should develop this world to the next generations and leave it to our children, our grandchildren, as good as possible. So this is how it will happen also if you avoid prejudice. And I would like to stop with this picture. This is a last face-to-face World Immunoregulation meeting. Our institute's members. I'm very thankful to our group leaders. Here is Mübeccel, and other group leaders. Here is Katya, here is Milena, here is Willem, here is Claudio, and our technicians, and all the people who work in the institute. And be happy as like people in your life. They are so elegant, because this is the gala dinner of the Congress. This is not our daily dress in the institute. And I also wish you a very successful career, young scientists of APAAACI, and come and visit us, and also develop a very good basic science and clinical science around you, and do your best to contribute to the science of allergy and clinical immunology. And I wish you all the best, and hope to see you in good days without the pandemic and with safe times. I would like to thank you very much, Ruby, for all these questions that really motivated me to look at the past, plan the future, and it was really great pleasure to find pictures that we are together, actually, with whom we worked actually together in the best way. And thank you very much also for all this interview and the opportunity to present our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cezmi. It was a great honor and great privilege, and you led us through this whole motivational conversation, which I think not just our young generation, but many of us, I have personally enjoyed it so much. Of course, the memories of the shared moments and the shared experiences were just very, very touching and lovely. But in general, to see your whole career, to go through everything and every message that you gave, the discussion on the pandemic, every aspect of it, thank you so much. It was so beautiful. And I'm sure our membership, irrespective of the generation they are in, they are going to enjoy this motivational conversation with you, Cezmi. Thank you very much.